Hello, and thank you for joining me today for this recording. For those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Alisa. I'm Lily Claire. We'll both be present next week at our live session, so we hope to see you there. Yeah, but perhaps I've already met you in one of our live sessions, or you've joined for one of the recordings. But for those of you who haven't taken part in one of these classes today, I'll just tell you a little bit about what to expect. So these classes tend to incorporate a little bit of mindfulness and adapted yoga postures, along with some breath work, some free dance, and some stretching and joint mobilization. So usually when there's two of us, we each show different options, but on my own, I'll be showing a variety of options as well. So feel free to take what works for you. And if anything doesn't feel right in your body today, to take one of the alternative options that I will be showing, or find something that works for you. Or this could even involve just taking a moment to rest, to sit back in your chair, to lay down on the floor. If ever you feel a little disconnected, you can close your eyes and return to your breath. This class is for you, so I encourage you to move in a way that feels good for you and your body today, and not to push anything too much, but also to have fun. And I will be sharing a few songs through Zoom, through my recording today. We don't have the rights to this music, and feel free to dance to the music that I'll be sharing, or if you prefer to play your own music, you can simply mute the sound and play your own music. So whatever works best for you. All right, and as we get started, I encourage you to find a comfortable position. So this might be seated in a chair. I'm in a chair right now. Or this might be lying on the floor on your back or your side, or on a couch. This could also be standing or sitting cross-legged on the floor. Just finding a position that feels comfortable. I encourage you to find your feet planted on the floor. So if you're seated, you can just have your feet resting on the floor, or if you're lying on your back, you might want to have your knees bent so that your feet can, the bottom, the soles of your feet can come into contact with the floor. We're going to be focusing on the feet a little bit today, so we can begin to draw our attention to this area. So as you come into this position, I invite you to close your eyes if this is comfortable for you, or you can just find a soft gaze. And I invite you to feel the weight of your body resting into the floor, feeling these points of contact. So if you're lying down, there may be many more areas of contact along the feet and perhaps the legs, the sacrum or the lower back and the hips, all the way up along the spine and the back, the arms and the head. Or if you're seated like I am, this may simply be the soles of your feet and your sit bones. So taking a moment to feel the sensation of these areas of contact, and allowing your weight to drop into the support of the floor and or the chair. Noticing the breath and how it feels today. Sometimes it helps to place a hand on your belly and another one on your chest. And you can begin to feel the movement of the breath, that rising and falling sensation, that natural expansion and coming together. So, not doing anything to change your breath, just noticing how it might feel today in this moment. Noticing any internal movements or sensation that go along with this breath. So you might feel this sense of expansion out through your ribs, your chest, your belly, and also even out towards your back. And I encourage you to breathe into this back space and these side spaces. Often it's easier to find this forward motion of the breath. But we breathe in a 360-degree area. Sometimes it feels comfortable to breathe in through the nose and then out through the mouth. You might find that there's some sounds you might like to make, perhaps a sigh or a yawn. I invite this to bring this sound into the space. And if there's any small movements that you feel you need to make as you settle, I invite that as well. So this might look like little stretches or a wiggle of your fingers or toes, a movement of your head side to side. Sometimes it's helpful to rub your fingers together a little bit. Slowly encouraging yourself to come into a relative stillness. And bringing this attention to the breath, you may start to notice a slight pause at the top and bottom of your breath. So this little moment in between at the top of your in-breath and the bottom of your out-breath, this slight pause, this moment in time. Again, not doing anything to force this, simply noticing. You may find it helpful to bring some counts into this practice. So counting your in-breath and your out-breath, and perhaps even counting that slight pause at the top and the bottom. And you may notice a difference in length with the in-breath and the out-breath, or you may notice that they're quite equal. But if you find that counting brings a bit of tension, a little bit too much focus into your headspace, you can just let that go and just go back into the sensation of breathing. And as you notice your breath and the weight of your body being supported by the floor and the chair, you may want to begin to elongate this breath just ever so slightly. And perhaps noticing a bit of a deepening. So if you find that your breath is a bit higher in your body, more in your chest or your throat or your shoulders, you may just want to bring in a slight intention to deepen this breath more into your belly. You can bring a hand here if that helps. And being sure to notice a full exhale. So letting go of all the air as you um, sort of sense the weight of your body and allow the ground to hold you. Now, as I mentioned today, this class is going to have a focus on the feet and the effect that grounding through the feet might have, moving upwards through the legs and into the hips and the spine. So I invite you to bring your attention into your feet and your toes. Perhaps you'd like to wiggle them a little bit. Um, and you can experiment with pushing the soles of your feet into the floor. You might want to do this pressing both feet at the same time, or perhaps alternating left and right, left and right. And noticing how this feels, pressing your feet into the floor, noticing any effects you feel coming up through your ankles and your legs, your knees, and your pelvis. You might feel a slight activation of these inner leg and pelvic floor muscles, and a slight movement along the hips. So just noticing. And you may also want to experiment with uh, turning your foot a little bit in and out, feeling the weight along the outside of the foot and more towards the inside of the foot. And equally, you can experiment with pressing your heel or the front of your foot, the metatarsal, into the floor. So just moving through these different points of contact, remembering to continue to breathe and noticing how this feels. And you can also experiment with wiggling your toes, pressing each toe into the floor, seeing how this feels. If you like to work with images, you might want to imagine that your feet are planted into the sand, or perhaps the dirt in your garden. Or perhaps you're walking through the grass. So finding an image and a sensation that works for you and breathing into it. And then moving upwards, we're going to bring our sensation all the way from the soles of our feet upwards into our ankles. Just noticing any sensation you feel. You may want to start with one ankle. So starting with the left and moving up into your calf and your shin, up into your knee. It may help you to visualize these parts of your body, or you may simply want to bring your attention to these sensations. And then moving up into the upper leg, the thigh. If it's helpful for you to bring a little bit of touch into this, you can take your hands and you can just place a little bit of pressure or rub into these places, wakening them up through touch. So the choice is yours. And when you've made your way all the way up to the top of your leg and your hip, you can bring the attention to the other side. So the other foot, I'm going to bring the attention to my right foot. And if you'd like to take a moment to touch with your hands, give your body a little squeeze, noticing the warmth of the hands, I invite this. So moving up through the lower leg, into the knee, into the upper leg and the hip. And if you're seated, you may begin to notice the weight of your pelvis resting into the chair. And you can give your hips and your lower back a little rub if this feels good. Bringing the breath all the way up through the floor, through your legs, up into your pelvis and your belly. Breathing in, expanding, and exhaling, letting it go. We're going to continue to follow this upward sensation all the way from the base of the spine and the hips up along the spine. So breathing into each vertebrae one at a time. So you may want to imagine that you have little fingers walking up along your vertebrae one at a time. As you inhale, you may feel a slight expansion of the spine, a lengthening, your head moving upward towards the sky and your pelvis grounding downwards. And equally on the floor, you can feel this same lengthening. And as you exhale, you may feel a slight coming together, coming in towards the center. And if you like, you can begin to accentuate this slight movement. So breathing in to extend the spine and breathing out to come inwards, a slight contraction in the center, letting your head fall forwards and in and out. So this is a slight cat and cow movement. If you're familiar with yoga, something that you may often see on the hands and knees. And you can begin to notice this connection between the head and the head, the root of the head along the neck and the tailbone. But not forcing anything too much. This can be an ever so slight movement. As you extend up through your head and your tailbone, you're also rooting through your feet. Breathing in and out at your own pace. Also noticing that front body. So bringing the awareness to the front of the body, we can notice the sensations along the belly, the ribs. If it helps to give them a little rub or squeeze, I invite this. And all the way up into the sternum, it's bone along here, along the chest, and the collarbones. So breathing into this space here and exhaling a full breath outwards. As we come up into the shoulders, you might want to give them a little squeeze. Or you may simply want to visualize this breath moving through your shoulders into your arms. So the air coming all the way from the feet, up the legs, through the spine, and out towards the arms. Feeling the elbows, the wrist, and the hands. So you can bring a little bit of touch into this or movement, or you can stay quite still. And equally coming up along the other side of the body, the right side, all the way from the floor upwards into that right arm. So moving in a way that feels comfortable for you, or remaining in stillness. And again, if it's comfortable to have your eyes closed, sometimes this helps to feel this internal movement and sensation. And I encourage you to bring some slight rolls into your shoulders. Breathing into them as you mobilize these joints and rolling forward as well. And then bringing your awareness all the way up along your throat, letting your jaw hang open and up along the back of the spine. If it helps to give your neck a little bit of a rub, I encourage this, or a slight tap, 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 tap. You may feel this slight indent along the base of your neck. You can give that a little rub if that's comfortable for you. Again, letting your jaw hang open. Inhaling and exhaling, feeling the oxygen moving all the way from your feet up into your neck. And bringing a slight yes, no movement. If this is comfortable for you, a slight movement of the head and neck. Ooh. And then bringing the awareness into the face. So letting your jaw hang open, noticing the space in your mouth and your throat, relaxing the tongue. Taking some sighs or yawns if that's comfortable. And noticing any sensations along your cheekbones, your nose, your forehead. Breathing into it. And then bringing the sensation all the way up to the crown of the head. Feeling the breath coming all the way from your feet, grounding through your feet, pushing up into your legs, your pelvis, your spine, and all the way up to the top of your head. Feeling your head moving upwards with your in-breath and relaxing down with your out-breath. And I invite you to bring any natural movement, any slight stretches into your body as you begin to wake it up. Opening your eyes and seeing the space, if this is comfortable for you. Noticing the space that you're in. Noticing the light, any colors or textures. And also noticing any sounds or smells. Really bringing your awareness to the space that you're in this moment. If you have any other people or pets that you're sharing the room with, you can acknowledge them as well. Oh. Great. And again, I encourage you to root your feet into the floor, feeling that grounding through the feet up into the legs. And we're going to move into a bit of a pelvic tilt. So if you're sitting, it'll look like this, but this can also be done on the floor. So tilt, bringing your kind of tucking your tailbone so that it comes up to meet the ceiling if you're on your back. And then bringing a slight space under your back. This is if you're on the floor. Or if you're seated, you'll feel your sit bones moving back to meet the chair and then coming all the way forward to the front of your legs. So noticing these different points of contact. I'm just moving my hands to show you the movement of the pelvis as you do this. So it might feel a little tight. It might not move too much. but just bringing the intention of a little bit of isolated movement into this area of the body. And noticing how this might affect the breath. Also noticing how this movement might ripple up your spine, letting your head move in a natural way, so not holding it too much. And as I tilt forward and back, I notice my weight coming back into my heels on the floor and then forward into the front of my feet. And letting that go whenever you need to. And we're going to take a moment to transfer our weight, if you're in a seated position, from one sit bone to the other. So lifting one foot at a time. I'll move back a bit so you can see. All right, so if it helps to hold your chair or even put your hand underneath your sit bone and slightly lift it. So this is an option. And it may not really come off too much, but you're sort of shifting your weight into one side and then into the other. And my feet, they're not coming fully off the ground. They're just, the heel is coming off and I'm sort of keeping my toes. But you can move in a way that's comfortable for you. So feeling that slight shift, and this may not look like much externally. It may just look like a slight shift in the upper body as you transfer your weight over. You might not notice your hip coming up too much. Just feeling this side to side motion. You can start to bring it into more of a swaying motion. So pushing into one foot at a time, allowing the upper body to sway side to side. I'm going to share a bit of music for us to sway to. So feel free to continue to explore with this side to side motion as comfortable. And if you prefer to try this standing, this can be a really good option as well. Okay. So as I sway, sometimes the image of water or wind might help with this sort of swaying motion, imagining yourself as a piece of seaweed or perhaps a blade of grass blowing in the wind. Letting your breath come in and out with this movement. And perhaps beginning to incorporate the arms. Letting your head, the weight of your head, also bring you side to side. And feeling your feet moving in and out of the floor. And as comfortable, if you'd like to experiment with coming to a standing position, I invite this. So finding this same swaying motion, but this time in a standing position, if comfortable for you. So I'll bring the camera down so you can see my legs. So I'm taking turns bending one knee at a time and moving through the metatarsal of my feet. A nice heavy pelvis. So feeling the weight of your body moving in and out of the floor as it supports you. And letting the sound of the music affect this movement. You may want to begin to sway your arms side to side. Again, feeling the weight of your arms. Pull down, and the momentum, bringing them across. But again, moving is comfortable for you. You might want to experiment with bringing a bit of a wider stance. So with a wider stance, I can use my hands on my thighs to support me as I come through the center, and the weight of my head to bring a bit of a slight half circle. Again, only if comfortable, if this feels natural for you. And noticing the breath. Wonderful. And letting that go, I'm going to give myself a little shake. So shaking the hands, shaking the arms, shaking the shoulders, letting that breath go, taking a little bounce. So bending and straightening the knees, not straightening really, going from a micro bend to a fuller bend, letting the weight of my body drop into the floor. You can give a little shake in your hips. And you can take a moment to shake each leg. If this is comfortable for you, you can take hold of your chair for a little support. Yeah. Shake, 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 shake. And then shaking as comfortable for you. So this might look like a little bounce. It may look like an isolated movement with one limb. Just moving in a way that's comfortable for you. Making sure not to hold your breath. And I'm beginning to swing my arms forward and back. You can try this if this is comfortable for you. And also swinging forward and back. Again, a slight bounce in the knees. I think you'll find if you bring your arms forward and let them drop with gravity, naturally your knees will bend a little bit. If you're allowing that weight of your pelvis to come down. Yeah, so feeling your feet rounding into the floor. And we'll take one more swinging option, and this is swinging the arms side to side. So this could be quite a small movement, or you can start to bring a bit of momentum into it. Keeping a micro bend in the knees and allowing the momentum of your arms to swing them all the way back. They might hit your body just a little bit, or you might keep them out to the side, not making any contact. And again, this might look like a very ever so small movement, but allowing your torso and your head to twist along with your arms. If this is not comfortable for you, you can experiment with taking some slight twists, So a seated option may look like this. Breathing in to extend the spine and out to take a slight twist, turning over the leg. And over. Wonderful. And I invite you, either standing or seated, to take a moment to raise your arms either up to the sky or out to the side or front, expanding outward through the limbs, breathing in and out through the center. And leaning forward over the legs. Now you may come to lean all the way forward with your head hanging, or simply resting your hands on your legs. A slight flexion in the spine. Now if you're standing, this will look like this, a bit of a sun salutation. Breathing in and out to roll forward. And breathing in, and then slowly out, we can roll through each vertebrae, rooting through the feet. Wonderful, and once more, either seated or standing, breathing in, and rolling forward, letting that head hang, letting those knees bend as much as they need to, feeling the feet rooting into the floor, and pushing up through those feet to roll up one vertebrae at a time. And with that, I invite you to roll your shoulders, your wrists, your hips, as you feel you need to. You might want to take a few rolls of the head as well. So listening to the music and finding these circular movements. And seeing the space around you. And coming all the way down to the feet, we can also roll our feet and our ankles. You can do this through bringing your weight into one leg and rolling along the floor, or coming to a seat and supporting your leg. A slight foot rolls. And as we come to standing, we can incorporate these foot rolls into our free movement in the space. So feeling the effect of the movement of your feet, where you're placing your weight, coming all the way up each leg, through the knee, up into the hips and the spine. So I invite you to come into a bit of a free dance, noticing your feet, allowing your feet to feel its way through the space, noticing where your weight is on your foot. Is it on your heel? Is it on your metatarsal? Is it on the outside or the inside? And equally, are your feet parallel, or are they moving out to the side or inwards? And how does this affect your movement? This song has a little bit more of a beat. So you may want to take a moment to just find that beat, doing a little walk or a march, letting your hips move if that's comfortable, and beginning to move in the space. seeing the space around you as you walk to the beach. You can experiment with walking forwards, and equally, you can walk backwards, being careful not to hit anything. And feel free to incorporate the upper body, the hands, the arms into this movement. But the focus is on the feet and moving to the beat, feeling the sensation of the floor beneath you. You can watch me for inspiration, or you can choose to take breaks from watching the screen, closing your eyes, or seeing the space around you and letting it inspire that movement. You could even start to bring a slight hop into your movement. Again, only as comfortable. If you are jumping, you'll want to make sure that you're rolling through your foot as you come in and out of the ground to protect your joints. Feeling free to take a break at any point if you feel your heart rate going up too much. You may even want to experiment with changing this beat, doing a bit of double time. Again, only as comfortable. Or finding the rhythm somewhere else in your body, perhaps through clapping or tapping your legs. And finding a place of ending. So with that, we're just going to take a moment to again walk in the space in silence this time, to find that internal rhythm. So noticing the beat of your heart. If you like, you can find your pulse, placing your hand on your heart or your neck. You may want to take a moment of stillness as you do this. Connecting to your natural breath. If you're tired and you need to take a moment to sit, I invite this. Seeing the space around you. Moving in the space, this time at your own rhythm. Feeling your feet beneath you. And feeling that contact affecting the movement, going all the way up your legs, into your spine and your upper body. Feeling yourself grounded in the floor. And I invite you to find a place of relative stillness. Again, this could be standing or seated or lying on the floor. So feeling that heartbeat, feeling your breath, closing your eyes if comfortable, or finding a soft gaze. And just taking a moment to feel the movement within your body. Noticing anything that might feel different from what you felt at the beginning of class. So perhaps you notice a change in temperature. I feel a little bit warmer. Perhaps you feel more a sense of spaciousness within your body. Perhaps not. Um, yeah, and perhaps you feel a little bit more energized. Equally, you may feel more tired. So just noticing these differences and naming them to yourself or in the space. And taking a moment once more to raise your arms out to the side or above your head, breathing in, feeling the expansion of your body, and exhaling to lean forward as comfortable for you. And inhaling as you roll up through your spine. Taking whatever time you need. And again, in, looking up to the ceiling if that's comfortable, and out, rolling forward. You can take a moment here to let your head hang loose. Do a few yes, no's with the head. Letting your jaw hang open. You can hold your elbows if you're standing. This is especially nice with your knees bent. Swaying a little side to side. Really allowing yourself to take that full exhale. And then feeling the feet rooting into the ground as you roll up slowly through each vertebrae, either standing or seated. And take a moment to take a twist. So breathing in to extend upwards and out, looking off to the side, doing a slight twist. You can have your hand on your thigh if that's comfortable. The other hand can be on your back or holding the chair. Breathing in to extend the spine upwards and out to twist just a little bit more if you find more space there. And in and out to face forward again. You can take a slight swaying motion just to let that go, return to neutral. And then we're going to repeat this motion to the other side. So in to extend upwards, rooting through the feet and the sit bones, and out to take a slight twist. So finding this twist in the center of your body, it could look very small. And with each inhale, you find your spine expanding. And with each exhale, you find ever just a little more space to twist, as comfortable. And returning forwards with your exhale. And then we're going to take another slight side bend. So if you prefer to find this swaying motion, perhaps slowing it down just a little to find a slight side bend, rooting through the feet and the sit bones. Or you can take a moment to stay along one side. And you could bring your arm up with an inhale if that's available to you. Reaching up, up, up to reach over, letting the shoulders relax downwards and the head slightly turn to the floor or forwards or up towards the arms. So finding a comfortable neck position. Equally, your hand could rest behind your head. Finding the breath in this side body and coming up whenever you need to. Again, finding this sway to loosen any places that we're holding. And then reaching upwards to find this side bend to the other side. Incorporating the arm with an inhale if comfortable for you. And experimenting with where you would like your head. Breathing into this side body. If it helps, you can give it a little rub. And then coming upwards again. Wonderful. And now if I'd like to invite you to take a slight face massage, if this is comfortable for you. If not, you can simply experiment with bringing your awareness to your face, perhaps mobilizing it through opening and closing movements or lip trills. But I'm going to be leading a small face massage, starting with my thumbs and drawing them along my eyebrows. So finding a pressure that's comfortable for you. Now this might look like little circles or a slight pulling upwards and outwards. And breathing into the sensation. And then taking my middle finger, I'm doing some slight circles along the temples. And coming down, pulling downwards into my cheekbones, letting the jaw hang open. Oh, yawning or making any sounds that come naturally. And coming down along these cheekbones. Applying some slight pressure. You might be able to find if you come slightly down and out from your ears, this TMJ joint. If you open and close your jaw a bit, you may find some movement there. So finding this spot, letting your jaw hang open and taking a few slight circles if this is comfortable. And then pulling downwards along the cheeks. And down along the nose as well. You can squeeze this part right under the nose. And you can stick out your tongue to bring a little bit more space to that back of the throat. And then coming behind the ear, finding this slight indent below the ear, between the jaw and the neck. Just pulling slightly down along this muscle here, along the throat. And you can take that motion all the way down along the neck, across the throat, down to the collarbones. I'm going to do the other side now. So just touching and moving in a way that's comfortable. If you don't want to massage, you can also experiment with some slight neck stretches here. And this is along the polyvagal nerve, and it comes all the way down to the heart. So if comfortable, you can bring your hand all the way down from the nerve along the throat down to your heart center. Okay, wonderful. And then since today's class was primarily focused on the movement of the feet and the sensations in the feet, I invite you to bring your awareness to the feet as well again. And if comfortable, I invite you to take a slight foot massage. So if you're able to bring your foot up to meet your body over your leg, you can give your foot, the front of your foot and your ankle a slight rub and squeeze. If this is easier for you on a couch or on the floor, I invite that. Find a way that works for you. And if you don't want to touch your feet, you can do this similar type massage on your hand, or simply experiment with mobilizing your feet and hands through movement. But I'm going to massage my foot. So taking my thumb, I'm finding a nice pressure point along the sole of my foot and pulling along there as comfortable. And squeezing up along the toes, the front and the back of the foot, the sole. You can find a nice pressure point just below your second toe there, about an inch below. Give that a little squeeze if that feels good. And then taking a moment to pull each toe as comfortable, or give it a little wiggle. And squeezing up along the heel and the ankle as well. And you can give it all a little rub or a little shake. And quickly we'll do the other foot. If it's difficult for you to reach your feet, another option for a self foot massage can be to find a ball that you can put below your foot and press into. This can be a nice option as well. And even taking your shoes off and walking in the sand or along uneven terrain can give you quite a nice little massage for your feet if that's available for you. Even just taking a moment to have them outside of your shoes and wiggling around a bit. So finding the pressure and the spots that feel they need a bit of attention, and giving your feet a bit of love, thanking them for all of the hard work that they do. Bringing them back to the floor, and take a moment to root downwards once more. If you prefer to come to a lying down position, we're gonna end the class here with a few breaths. So taking a moment to find a comfortable position. Again, you can find your hand on your chest and your belly if this helps. Returning to your breath, closing your eyes if comfortable. And allowing yourself to let go of the class today. Dropping the weight of your body into the floor and the chair. Allowing it to support you. Letting go of any focus or attention. And just allowing your body to release any effort from today's class. You might want to draw your attention to the length of your in and out breath, finding that slight pause at the top and the bottom as we did at the beginning of class. Or you may want to find an image that's comfortable for you, somewhere where you feel safe and held. So just taking a few moments here to let the ground support you. And I invite you to stay in this resting position as long as you like. But with that, I will begin to bring the class to an ending. So if you would like to bring it to a close with me, I invite you to begin to lengthen your breath just a little. Bring some small movements into your fingers and toes. Begin to stretch outwards as comfortable. And blink your eyes open so that you can see the space around you. Returning to the computer screen when comfortable. And taking a closing gesture as you prefer. So my gesture will be to raise my arms as we have before with an in-breath. And bring my hands down through center. And thank you for joining me today. And hopefully see some of you soon for our live classes. We will begin giving them every single week live, beginning next week, Claire and I together. So look forward to seeing you in the future, and thanks for joining me today.